Okay, next I'm going to go over the Revolve kind of tool inside of Illustrator. This would be if you want to revolve and around. Yeah, I turned the volume up a little. I don't know, it sounded kind of low. So in this case, I'm going to revolve objects. In this case, I just started with a blank Illustrator document, and I'm going to go with the. If you look at the sample that I had before here, you see I kind of have like a wine bottle here with a label around it. Okay, to do this, you kind of need to make half the shape, and then tell the 3D tool to revolve it around, and then I'm going to make an object, in this case a label, and then you need to tell this label to be a symbol, and then you can apply the symbol to the 3D object. So that's kind of the steps. So the first thing to do is to make a half a 3D object. Usually for something like a wine bottle or something, I would use like the pen tool in this case. You want to make sure that it's kind of a not necessarily it has to be straight on one side, and I'll explain that as we draw it here. I'm going to make kind of a fat wine bottle here, round bottom here. But the key here is you want a straight line from the first point you made to the bottom point down here, because if you don't, you'll get a hole, and you can see this sample that I have over here with a hole in it, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So try and make a straight object that has a straight line if you want to make something solid. Oh, I made a mistake there. Let me start again here. I'm going to go all the way back to my final point. Okay. Again, this is going to be a skinny little label up here, but that's okay. So what you're looking to do when you're using the revolve feature here is you're looking to make a half an object. It doesn't matter in this case, we're just using a wine bottle, but it could be any kind of object. So what you're looking to do is make half a shape, and then once you're done with half the shape, revolve it around. Again, to do that, if I click on my object, I'm going to go under Effects, 3D, and I'm going to use the Revolve. By choosing the Revolve option, you can hit the preview button, and you can see what it does is it'll take the object and revolve it around. Now here's the problem that I'm running into, is that it's revolving not this way around but this way around. So you have a way of doing what's called the axis, and what the axis is where is it revolving around. Right now it's taking the object and going to the left. Okay, what I want to do is have the object go to the right. To do that, I go inside of the 3D Revolve Options tools, and where it says from, right here it says left edge, I'm going to say right edge, and you'll see my object. Ooh, look at the top up here, it's really skinny. Look at that, that's a fat wine bottle with a skinny top. So if you want to alter it a little bit, you can hit cancel. You can always go and alter your points here. I'm going to grab these points along the outside here, kind of make them a little bit further out. There we go. Oh, that's a little bit too much. How about oh, there we go. So I'll make them a little bit fatter up there, and again, select my object. It's underneath Effects, 3D, Revolve. I'm going to preview. Again, I want to go from not the left edge but the right edge, and it gives me more of a bottle look, and if I can rotate it, you can see you get a nice sort of 3D looking bottle in this case. And it looks quite nice. Okay, you got down here again, you have your shading, you have a lighting if you want to adjust your lighting onto the other side. You can see it if you want your lighting to come from the bottom, from the side, from the top is usually the most normal one. Top right is kind of the most common one right there. And then there's some options you can change down there. So that's a simple shape, again making half of it and then revolving. Next, if you want to make and put a label or any kind of object around there, one of the things you got to think about is how you're going to make it size-wise. So if I was going to put a label that goes around here, in this case I'm just going to do a really quick one using a rectangle. I'm thinking about the size, okay? Think of size, maybe give it a color. Give a nice green box. So think of how it would wrap around it. Not too big, not too small. Think of perspective and things like that. Again, with we could cheat a little bit maybe and just put a little ellipse at the top to give it the kind of the label look here. So we have a little shape that looks like that, and then maybe let's put our name inside there. And then let's put some color on there. There we go. Yellow text on a green background. Woof, that's gonna look beautiful. Okay, so any kind of shape that you want to make is fine. The key here is if you want to wrap it around the bottle, you need to make it a symbol. So I have my label here. You can spend a lot of time making a nice label and things like that. So I'm going to select my objects here, and I'm going to go to my symbols window. In my symbols window, I'm going to take my label that I've made, and I'm going to drag it into my symbol. And I can give it a name if I want. This will be my label. Hit OK. Once I have it in here, then I can go and put it on my 3D object. To go and put it on my 3D object, I'm going to select my 3D object, and if you remember how you get back to using the 3D tool is under the appearance window. There is a 3D revolve right here. If I click on that, it'll allow me to go in there. Again, I can hit the preview option so I can see it. Now to put it onto the object, okay, I'm going to use what's called map art. Okay, so when I'm using the 3D option here, if I look down here, it says map art right here. If I click on the map art, it'll take me into the where you can actually wrap a symbol around an object. Now in this case, how you wrap it around an object is you need to wrap it around one of the facets or faces of the 3D object. And if you notice up here, and there's a surface option right here. As you hit these arrows, it'll go through the different surfaces. This is the surface that's at the bottom. As you can see, it's red right here. See how it's red? Okay, so I don't want to wrap my picture down there because it's underneath it. If I hit this, it's going to go up there. There's a shape. I don't want it there. If I wanted to put something up here at the top, maybe a corkscrew or something like that, I could wrap it around there. You can see how it's red up there. If I hit the arrow again, it's going to give me a sort of a surface. I think that's the one at the very top. And then this is the one that goes all the way along the side. See how it's red with lines around the side? So this is where I want to map my art. So again, if you look over here under the map art window, so again, choose your surface, then go under symbol. I'm going to go and find my label. Might have to scroll a little bit. There's my label. Again, you can put it where you want. It's not going to show me a preview right now, is it? No. You can make it bigger or smaller, but I kind of made it the right size. You don't really see it, so you don't know, but you can change the position. Of course, I'd probably want it down here. I don't want it up here. This is kind of the neck of the bottle up here at the top, so I kind of want it towards the bottom. This will probably be right around this area if you look at where it's at here compared to where it's at there. If I hit OK here and then hit OK again, it should show me. No, it's not showing me. Maybe it's on the other side. Let me go back to my 3D. Why did it not work? Preview, map art, it's there. Make it bigger. Oh, there it is. It's on the other side. That's what the problem is. So it's around the other. It's around the back side. Maybe if I. Oh, here we go. We can start moving it around. I don't want it to go off the screen though. There we go. Oh, I can see it now. It's coming around. So it was there. It's just on the other side. So this dark area is, I guess, the other side of the bottle, and the white area is the side that's visible. But of course, you don't want to go off the edge; it would be cut off. So maybe if we go right there and hit OK, and then we can rotate it around. Let's see what it looks. Oh, here we go. It's coming around, coming around. There it is. Okay, so you can see your object with your object wrapped around. Again, some of the other things you might want to consider doing is breaking. Remember, breaking the flat expand appearance will create and make objects out of your converted into objects that you can edit. The other thing you might want to do is you can go underneath window and go onto the transparency option. And again, you can make since this is a wine bottle, you might want to be able to see through it, and so you can sort of soften it. But it does it to the label also because they're seen as the same object. But that's things you can do. Now, if you are working in 3D, and you can see that this one that I made has a hole in the middle. Again, this wine bottle, the first one I made a perfectly flat line that goes along the side here so that it's straight up and down. Over here, you'll notice I have a hole right here. The reason why is this object wasn't, as you can see, straight on the one side here. So if I zoom in, if you want to make things that have holes in them, just don't have a flat side. So you can make almost like I was thinking like a pen or some kind of object that you could make with holes in them. So you can do things that are not solid by making them so they're not straight on one side. Okay. The last tool again is if you just type in something. Let's just put in my name. It doesn't have to be text. It could be anything. Under 3D, under Effects 3D is really the one called Rotate. Now the Rotate doesn't really do anything. It doesn't extrude or anything. It's just a way of taking an object and rotating it. You can see how my little words here are as I move it. So this is the one that says Rotate under 3D is just a way of rotating an object. It can be any object. It doesn't extrude it. It doesn't do anything. It just changes it into kind of a space that you can rotate it. Okay, so that's all it is just a rotate feature. And so these are just basic 3D tools. Think about how you can make a 3D object. Look at some of the tutorials online and make some kind of maybe a logo that would go with some text for this week would be kind of a good sample and practice for you.